animals that can actually transform? Welcome back to Shelby on Safari, and in today's video, as I explore the South Downs National Park, I'm going to share with you my top 3 favorite animals that you may not have heard of that can transform in the spirit of New Year's and thinking of New Year's resolutions. And in fact, these 3 animals have inspired my own resolutions. So you ready? Join the safari and let's get started. So first up is the reindeer with the retinal structure adaptation. Reindeers live in the northern hemisphere, and up in the north, the weather certainly gets a bit gnarly. And so to help them adjust to the low light levels of the Arctic winters, their eyes actually change color. In the summer, they're more golden in color, whereas heading into winter, they get a deep blue color. This color change helps them see in the low light levels of the Arctic winters. And it all comes down to the tapetum lucidum, a word which might sound familiar as we've talked about it often here on Shelby on Safari, and that's because it is so important. The tapetum lucidum is that reflective, shiny layer just behind the retina that helps some animals see in the dark, like cats. But in cats, the tapetum lucidum reflects more of a golden color. But with almost total darkness, what is a reindeer to do if there's not much light to reflect back on? Well, one theory suggests that the pressure built up inside of their eyes from trying to keep their poor eyes dilated to get as much light in as possible actually results in a pressure buildup. And the collagen fibers then are compacted and reflect a blue wavelength instead of yellow. Thus their eyes look blue. And actually, their blue eyes are 1,000 times more sensitive than the yellow, which comes in handy in the dark Arctic winters. And so with the reindeer's eyes changing color to help look for the light and use the light to their best advantage, that's actually inspired one of my New Year's resolutions, to look for the light. And when I find it, make the most of it. But let's carry on and meet another animal you may not have heard of that can transform. The next animal that can transform is incredible because of its phenotype plasticity, which is just a fancy way of saying an organism's ability to change in response to stimuli or inputs from the environment. The animal that I want to share with you that you may not have heard of is actually an amphibian and was only recently discovered in Ecuador's Andes Mountains. Meet the mutable rain frog. But all is not what it seems with this adorable amphibian. Because of their phenotype plasticity, they hold the impressive title of being the first shape-shifting amphibian to be discovered by scientists. And in fact, the scientists that discovered it thought they had made a mistake when they collected an individual. It actually changed its skin's texture during the night. So in the morning, the scientists thought, oh, this is the wrong species, because it's the skin's texture that often helps scientists identify frogs. But alas, they found and described a pretty radical amphibian, to say the least. More is yet to be discovered about this beautiful frog and how it can essentially shapeshift. And quite quickly as well. It can be done in a matter of seconds. That's pretty cool. I guess we all kind of shapeshift like frogs. Like if you're cold and you get goosebumps, which luckily I'm not having any goosebumps now, even though it is chilly because I'm wearing my nice thermal. But regardless, the mutable rain frog certainly inspires my second New Year's resolution to be adaptable to one's surroundings, and also to dress properly for the British weather. But anyways, on to the last animal that you probably haven't heard of that has an incredible transformation to bring us into the new year. Can I cross safely? I am a bit clumsy. Oh. Ooh, I can hear the squeak and I can feel the squeak in my shoes. Ooh. Almost there. Oh, did you hear that one? That was intense. Oh. I didn't slip. Yay! All right, let's carry on. You guys might not be able to see it, but over there is a pheasant. Looks to be a male one at that. I know the footage is rubbish, but it's on my phone. But how cool is that? Look at him go. Oh, he's running. Go, little guy, go. Now, the last animal that you may not have heard of that can transform is known as the immortal jellyfish. And while it's not really a true jellyfish, well, and not really immortal, it does have a pretty cool ability known as transdifferentiation. These guys are only about 4.5 millimeters wide and tall, making it probably about the size of your pinky nail. Pretty tiny. But don't let their size fool you. Oh no. These guys have an extraordinary ability when under extreme stress, like starvation, or have been injured, they can revert back to a younger form and begin the life cycle all over again. Let's talk it through. You have an immortal jellyfish that, say, is starving. They'll reabsorb their tentacles and thus losing the ability to swim, will slowly settle down into a blob-like cyst on the sea floor. After about 24 to 36 hours, these little blobs will develop into a polyp and then will eventually mature back into their original immortal jellyfish form. The immortal jellyfish was only described by scientists in 1883, and their incredible differentiation ability was unknown to science until 100 years later in the 1980s, when it was accidentally discovered by scientists. But nowadays, studies are still being done to fully comprehend this life cycle reversal at the genetic level. In fact, I'll pop a few in the description down below for you to read if you're interested. And while the immortal jellyfish may be able to cheat death by old age, by reversing back into a younger form, this differentiation ability does not protect the jellyfish from, say, predators like fish and turtles that may eat the immortal jellyfish. But how on earth would the immortal jellyfish inspire my final New Year's resolution? Well, it's quite simple, really. To never lose sight of the childhood wonder of the world around us, whether it be like animals that are like real-life Pokemon or the history that surrounds us all. I find it incredibly important to never lose sight of just how amazing the world around us is. Which is why one of the reasons I started this YouTube channel, to bring you guys along with me as I discover and explore some incredible animals and places. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to what adventures we'll get up to in 2022. In fact, let me know in the comments down below if there's any videos you would want to see in the new year. I'm gonna head back in because it's about to rain, but don't let the adventure stop there. Oh no, click on this video right here, on my favorite video that I made this year, what real life animal is like Spider-Man? Because, well, I'm sort of a scientist myself. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you over in that video.